Hello, my name is John from Train Movement Group, and today I'm going to show you some novel movements of the elbow, wrist, and hands. So consider this video like an unofficial sequel to the original video from Forward Motion PT. Shout out to Corey Blickenstaff. That original video has helped so many of us out there. Thank you so much. If you haven't seen that video yet, I really suggest you check it out. The link is here and in the description below. There, Corey explains why novel movements can be so helpful. Essentially, that they give our body an opportunity to form a new opinion about a novel stimulus. Hopefully, an opinion that doesn't involve pain. So this is like a fan fiction sequel to the original video. I'm not a physical therapist. My experience with these movements is merely personal. I've been using these movements to help manage pain from golfer's elbow and also as a warm-up for climbing sessions. So the only problem with novel movements is that if you practice them consistently for several months, they cease to be novel. So I'm going to give you 3 more variations on these movements that I'm using these days to keep up the novelty. If you've tried the originals, I hope these will also be helpful for you. So let's begin. For the first movement, we're going to put our arm in front of us, palm down, locking the elbow. To initiate the movement, we're going to set the wrist and fingers in a starting position, which we're going to keep for the entire motion. First, extend the wrist, and then extend the fingers maximally. As you extend the fingers, the tendency will be for the wrist to flex slightly and lose that position. We want to resist this as much as possible. Then, once you've gotten this position, the actual movement we'll be doing for reps is essentially a biceps curl while we bend at the elbow. And throughout the whole motion, I'm trying to maximally extend the wrist and fingers. It can be helpful sometimes to reset the motion between reps. And of course, you can do this with both arms at the same time. Second motion, start with the same position, elbows locked, palms down, but this time we're going to flex the wrist maximally and flex the fingers maximally. Again, we want to avoid the compensation of the wrist moving as we flex the fingers, and then from here we can do some reps. In all of these movements, it's common to get a strong forearm pump. Enjoy it. Relish it. Next variation, we're going to turn the palms up. Again, remembering to lock the elbows at the end of each rep. So we'll start here with the wrists and fingers extended. Once we've set the position, move the elbows for reps. And again, if you're struggling to keep maximal extension of the wrist and fingers, you can reset each rep. Finally, with palms up, we'll do the flexion method. The second movement will incorporate a bit of rotation. So again, hand out in front of you, elbow locked. It doesn't matter which way the palm is, as you'll see. So we'll first extend the wrist and then the fingers, and then in this motion, while keeping the elbow locked, we're going to fully rotate the wrist from pronation into supination. So again, it doesn't matter which way you started, because you'll get the full range of motion either way. While we do this exercise, a bit of the motion will come from the shoulder joint. That's fine. Once we've done that, we'll do the same motion, but in flexion. So we'll set the wrist and fingers, and then pronate and supinate the wrist fully. And finally, we'll do the same rotations with the wrists in flexion and extension, but this time with the elbows in full flexion. So we'll start this way with the extensions. In this one, additionally, because there's no real end range of motion, I'm actively contracting the biceps, trying to squeeze the top of my forearms towards my shoulders. Then we'll do the flexion version. Again, I'm flexing everything. The arms as hard as I can, along with the wrist and fingers. and these two are particularly bumpy. And the final variation I like to do is a bit more complicated because it combines the elbow flexion and extension with the wrist rotation element. So it's more complicated, but also more time efficient. But will definitely take you a while to master. So we'll put our arms out again, and we'll begin in a fully extended wrist and finger position. Once we set this, we're going to begin rotating the arms. And as we continue slowly rotating, we're going to start to bend the elbows slightly, doing sort of a bicep curl, the end of our range of motion, and then backwards. And the coordination of this is a little bit complicated, but you'll get it eventually. The next variation is in wrist and finger flexion. And I find this one actually a bit easier to do if you allow the arms to just come to your sides. For the sake of easy demonstration, I'm still doing it in front, but it's actually easier to pull off if you just sort of remove the element of your shoulder moving. So again, throughout the entire movement, I'm focusing on maximal flexion of the fingers. I'm squeezing the fingers and the wrist throughout the whole movement. So those are the 3 novel movements. I hope they're as useful for you as they have been for me. Take care and have a lovely day.